I am currently in Cheltenham, in Gloucestershire. Cheltenham, very special place to me. Why? I first came here in 1989, and to say I haven't looked back since would be a massive understatement. I want to take you down a trip down memory lane. So, this is fascinating. This is fascinating because over there is where I lived. This was the first place I lived when I left home. This was the first place. It's a different building now. So this was the first time I had independence, 1989. Yeah, I can remember it. I can honestly remember it like it was yesterday. I was so fortunate. I was like a kid in a candy store of like all the things I could do, what I could eat, what time I could go to bed, just having my own freedom for the first time in my life, 19 years old. And come a long way. Hello. 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 What's your name? What's your name? Sorry? Hello. Got these amazing doors, but they won't open. But honestly, taking a moment to reflect as a 54-year-old, nearly 55-year-old man who was 19 and came to live here. And as I reflect back, I honestly have this overwhelming sense of how lucky I was that my parents supported me, that I had this incredible opportunity. I mean, literally. But if I could go back in time now and talk to that younger version of me, what would I say? You know what? I really wish I could. I really, really wish I could go back to that younger version of myself and give that version of me a big hug and say, hey, listen, you have arrived. You don't have to prove anything. You just be you. But I didn't know who I was. I was searching for validation. I was searching for acceptance. And I look back now and again, I'm filled with joy and gratitude. But boy, I wish I could go back in time. I really, really do. It's not a regret because I just would have been more present. I just would have seized the moment. And what's really interesting is we used to wear jackets here when you represented the college at football or cricket, and it had a emblem on it that said it basically was Latin, which means learn to teach. Learn to teach. It's like carpe diem, seize the day, or carpe memento, seize the moment. That I wish I would have seized the moment. But now, learn to teach. I have the opportunity to teach myself, not anybody else. I don't believe I'm here to teach anyone anything. I'm just here to be me, serve, support, coach, inspire, but not teach. A story for another day. But I truly do believe that I am here to teach myself now what I would have taught myself back then, which is to be more kind, which is to be more loving, to be more patient, and to walk in faith. I didn't have faith then in who I was, and faith in being supported perhaps by something outside of myself. But I'm not the person I was, you know? But it's time for the next season of this person's life. Me, Pete Cohen. In my first year at university, I got a job as a fitness instructor, and this is where the gym was. It was called In Shape, and actually now it's a Burger King, which is quite ironic, but that's where my fitness career started, up there. That's where I started teaching classes, and I look back and I still couldn't believe that the guy Colin Deans actually employed me. I had such kind of low confidence about who I actually was. But I'm so pleased he gave me that job, because that's where I started teaching classes. That's where I started to realize what I could do, because I definitely wanted to make an impact. I definitely wanted acceptance and love, and I'd get that. People used to come to my classes. I'm not short of energy and enthusiasm. Back there, that's where it all started. So this place has changed a fair bit with these outer buildings here, but in here, it's just the most incredible place, as you're about to see. This used to be tennis courts here, actually. Wow. Now, what you might not know is that when I was 18, I applied to universities and what was then known as polytechnics, higher education institutions. And because of my unacademic background and lack of basic qualifications, I got turned down from all of them. But my friend, when I was doing work experience in London, he showed me the back of one of the university books, and it had a list of these colleges. And this was one of these colleges. It's St. Paul's and St. Mary's. And I just phoned them up and just said who I was, and they gave me an interview, and I actually had my interview in this building here, up there, with a lady called Janvrin, and you had to do a coaching demonstration and had an interview, and again, the rest is history. I'm going to see Janvrin today, but again, thinking about how that changed my life, coming here, someone who wasn't academic, and there was a path for me to get a degree. I mean, literally someone who's labelled with dyslexia, and I had this real opportunity to become someone, to be academic. I questioned some of the reasons of why I wanted to be academic. I think it was because I wanted to, again, to be accepted, that I'm good enough. But this place has so much significance, so much alcohol consumed. The library was over there, which I actually got banned from sometimes, because obviously I'm quite hard to keep quiet. Just amazing. And again, this church here, I never went in there. I never went in there until when I left. One of my friends was unfortunately killed in a horrific situation, and we had a big ceremony in there. But this place has so much significance to everyone that went to this college, because we were a small college. Yeah, just amazing just to think that when we're talking, this was in 1989, it's now 2025, so you can do the maths on that. It was a long time ago. So I lived in there in my first year, and my second year I lived with 3 other people. 2 of them became like 2 of my best friends, at 97 St. Paul's Road, which is this house on the corner here. This is where we lived. And oh, look at this. This is where we lived, and this place here has so much significance to me in my life. You really couldn't make it up. To me, this signifies one thing, this place: love and friendship. The friendship that we had with my friends living there is something that has stayed with me forever. The importance of friendship, the importance of having fun, and the amount of fun that we had in that house. You basically couldn't make it up. And I'm still so friendly with those guys today. And this was our landlord's place here. And we used to come across there and buy each other small gifts. So in there was where I saw one of the people I was at university with teaching a class, teaching an exercise to music class. And as I saw her do that, I remember thinking, I can do that. It's just an idea. And it's amazing that that idea then became obviously a reality, because I was teaching classes not only just in gyms, but in leisure centres. Sometimes I've had like 100, sometimes 200 people in my class. It's amazing. And this church here, I lived right next to this church, and I never really any notice of it. Beautiful building. And over there, that's it. That was one of the main buildings of the university, Francis Close Hall there. And when I was here, the university was called St. Paul's and St. Mary's. Let me show you somewhere else of great significance. So in 1989, I was teaching lots of classes. I was playing lots of football, and I got a really bad groin injury. And I went to go and see some top groin specialists, and they did loads of scans, and they basically said, we want to do an operation to wire your pelvis together. And I was like, well, I'm not sure. That sounds a little bit. So I asked a couple of people, and one of them said, look, you should try acupuncture. And this is where I tried acupuncture. I had no idea what acupuncture was. I had no idea what alternative medicine was. And it was this place, number 18, Clarence Square, which is where I met the most amazing acupuncturist and his wife, who also was an aromatherapist. And there was tried chiropractor for the first time. And I'll never forget, I had acupuncture. I sat down and the guy asked me, what do you want? And I was telling him how much pain I was in, and he was going, but what do you want? I said, I can't do this, I can't do that. And he said, look, if you can't tell me what you want, leave. And it really forced me to focus on what I wanted as opposed to what I didn't want. And I wanted to move, and I wanted to be able to jump around and change direction. And even now saying pain-free, it's like, that's what he was saying. No, that's what you don't want. What do you want? And I became great friends with him. There's 6 sessions, all the pain had gone. I didn't need surgery. And it opened my mind wide open to what some people might call alternative therapy. But I look at it now and think there's nothing alternative about it, because people have been doing acupuncture for thousands of years, traditional Chinese medicine. It just opened my mind again to a world that I didn't know existed. And I suppose that's what I'm so committed to even now. Even opening my mind up more to a world that perhaps that we can't see, a world of possibility, a world of consciousness. This sounds very, very deep. And it's fascinating walking down here, because this was again another pivotal place. And I realized not long ago, I tried to contact Mike, that he passed away not too long ago. But wow, he said one of the most profound things I ever heard anyone say, ever. He basically said that the ability in life to live where you choose how you think and feel, where you don't get stressed when all people around you are losing their mind. I realize now that that is a superpower, and it's something I'm totally committed to, is being cooler and calmer and generating calm and peace, as opposed to just being in a state of being busy. So this is a very special place. This is a place called Clarence Square. This has so much significance to me. So beautiful. Look at these trees. They're still here. They're still doing what they do. Unbelievable trees. Now, I used to live over here. So when I was doing my teaching degree, I was working in a gym. I was teaching. I really didn't enjoy teaching at all. Kids, I found it really difficult in terms of the system and having to do what everyone else was doing. I wanted to do things differently. And anyway, but the fact of the matter is I lived over there, 38 Clarence Square, and I met a girl who worked in the gym, and she lived over there. And I remember I just was so besotted with her. I used to make her tapes and put them through her door, and we became good friends. And I was coming to the end of my teaching degree, and I got a job in Hong Kong teaching English. So I went with a few of my friends, but I was so in love. And I went there, and I remember after a couple of weeks, I thought, I can't be, I've got to go home. I remember speaking to my mum going, oh, you can't come, think of all the people you've been letting down. But I was so pleased that I didn't listen to my mum. I came back, and Michelle, who lived at number 29, moved in with me, and we lived at number 38. And that was an amazing time to live with someone, to love someone, and I learned so much about myself. It's fascinating that Michelle and I are still great friends to this day, because we were both going on our own journey of discovery, our own journey of healing. I didn't realize just how much healing I needed to do. I didn't realize just how stressed I was. I didn't realize how busy I was, constantly busy, being busy. Let me show you something else over here. So when I left university, I went to London. I got a job in a big health club. I worked a ridiculous amount of hours, 70, 80, 90 hours a week. I got a bit disenchanted. I got a bit, I don't know, disillusioned by it all. I then was going to travel the world, but just before I did, a friend of mine said, do you want to come and do this job managing a leisure centre, which was where they played this laser gun game. And I went and did that for a while. Then I got disillusioned. Then I thought I'm going to become a teacher. I came back to Cheltenham, and this is where this place was called Chapel Rock. So while I was studying, this was a brand new gym that opened up. I had a big climbing wall, and I was still very much interested in fitness and health, but was really interested in psychology. And in 1997, I put some signs out here, and I started teaching a weight loss course that really focused on behavior. And at 9 o'clock at night, down here in this room, where I started my first class with 4 women. And after 1 week, one of them left. It was just 3, but I just kept on teaching what I believe to be a great way of helping people lose weight by changing the way that they think. It was all happened in here, and eventually it became so successful. I had doctors referring people onto this program, and in 2003, that program was sold to a medical insurance company called Bupa. It all started here. But what was really ironic, what also started there, was a real decline in my health. You know, I looked fit, but mentally I wasn't healthy. I was fit in some respects, but really not healthy. I didn't realize how stressed I was. I didn't realize how I was pushing. And there is where I had the massive decline. That's where I was eventually diagnosed with chronic fatigue, or something also known as ME, which I had for about 10 years. And it's so crazy that all of this was kind of going on. But I have come such a long way since then, and I'm actually today going to be seeing some people that I was at university with. That's why I'm here. There's a little reunion of these people who I studied with back in 1989. That's Chapel Rock, and that place has a very special place in my heart. Had an amazing night last night with many of the friends that I met way back in 1989. I didn't take any video, didn't take any pictures. A couple of people took pictures. We just really immersed ourselves in where we were, which is kind of what we had to do when we were younger, because people didn't have phones back then, and we weren't all on Instagram. So we all immersed ourselves in just being with each other. In fact, it would have felt really odd if people started really being on their phones, because it was almost like it would be rude in a way to do that, to be present with people. And it just gave me a different perspective once again on the whole thing about how social media has changed everything. But it was just incredible to be with such amazing people, because a lot has happened since I left in 1993. But if I go back to 1989 and what happened with the 4 years that I studied, I left, I came back, I became a different person. And I asked the question yesterday, if you could go back in time to your younger self when you started here, what advice would you give? And it was fascinating to hear people's answers. My answer is I just would have told myself to stop trying to impress everybody, stop trying to be liked and loved, just be yourself. Now, that in itself is a big question, right? Because when you say be yourself, what exactly does that mean? You know, what does the best version of yourself mean? And I think maybe that's a question for another day, but that's something I love to explore with people, which is part of who I am. Helping people explore who they are at their core, so they can rise above their insecurities and their imperfections and be happy, be peaceful. It was amazing. And two of our lecturers were there, and I also asked that same question of them, and it was fascinating what they said. One of them said, I would have told myself to be more bullish, stand up more, and for people's rights, because the course that we did way back then, 1989, basically was for people who were misfits of the education system, people who had kind of failed in the traditional education system and couldn't go in the traditional higher education, because this was a college here, a higher education college that eventually got university status. But we were all misfits, really. I was speaking to everyone and I didn't just realize just how in our own way we had all failed in getting the qualifications that would have opened the door for us to have gone to some of the traditional universities. And I'm so grateful that this guy Vic actually decided that's what he was going to do. But not only that, when I was here and we did this diploma in higher education, his bullish nature provided an opportunity for us to turn this diploma into a degree. And we were the first students that had that opportunity to do that. And I don't think of myself as an academic, but I definitely got some great qualifications that required hard work and dedication and, you know, lots of research and lots of thinking, and because of the people who had the foresight to create opportunities, and that was Vic and also Janvrin. And Janvrin was the lady that her and her colleague taught exercise to music. I became an exercise to music instructor. So I'm so grateful. I think it's so important sometimes just to stop and really take a moment to think about how lucky I am and all the opportunities I've had and the people that have helped me along the way. So just walk around in a big circle. I'm going to get in my car now. I'm going to go and see another friend.